Unlock the unknown. So deep inside your soul and dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. Mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unbeknown. Unlock the unknown.
I won't accept it, what the skeptics even have to say. They disconnected, redirected, and it's so cliche. So much evidence is building up in our possession. So many elements come for the answer to this question. From the page of myth to actuality. To unlock a locked door, where's the magic key?
Unlock the unknown. So deep inside your soul, dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. These mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unbeknown. Unlock the unknown.
You have 77 counties in Oklahoma. We put reports in them, 66 counties.
Cheyenne Indians call it Maps of Vista, meaning giant monster.
These are some of the best cast footprints that I've seen in a very, very long time.
North Canadian River Project. We basically focus our investigations on the North Canadian River or central Oklahoma.
Welcome back to Squatch Ranger Files, episode 37. Hey guys, if you haven't already, I want you to go to my YouTube channel, Squatch Ranger, and check out our documentary called The North Canadian River Project, Area 3. It's a great documentary. It's free. I compare it to any kind of Bigfoot documentary you would find on Amazon Prime. And this one's free. You don't have to purchase it or rent it. Completely free. A few of our guys from the NCRP went on a camp out to do some field work the weekend of March 27th through the 29th. Kurt Stanley snapped a picture during the investigation which appears to capture something next to a tree. Our guys went back out on April 10th to do a recreation of the photo. Take a look and let me know what you think. So here are some of the side-by-sides. That is Evans Bailey filling in to do the recreation photo for size comparison. Let me know if you can actually see something that was there when Kurt took the picture, and then if you notice it's not there during the recreation photos. Alright guys, let's jump right back into Squatch Ranger Files, episode 37. Number 1. 12-year-old sees Bigfoot south of Vandalia, 1972, Audrain County, Missouri. Class A daytime sighting. I was about 12 years old, and this was back in 1972 or 73, so it was quite a while back. I lived on a farm of about 40 acres, pretty well wooded. This was in Audrain County, about 10 miles south of Vandalia. This would have been in the summer. I came upon a blackberry patch. I was maybe 60 feet from the creature. It must have been about 6 foot tall. It had a perfectly round head, and I very distinctly remember his cheeks looked very blue. We just stared at each other. There was no movement. When my dog took off, I followed suit. Follow up. NOBRO. Investigators report. I spoke with the witness via the internet. I asked the witness to supply a map which pinpointed this sighting location. The witness provided the sighting location and added the following details. There is a path that goes back through the field to a patch of woods. That is the spot where I saw it. There used to be an old house very close to that. We lived there for a few years. Then Dad built the house up by the black square, a tiny pond. That old house had not been lived in for about 7 years. When I saw that thing, strange things happened around the house. Things missing, doors left open. I further asked the witness what he thought he was looking at through his 12-year-old eyes, and if he had told his parents, and if they believed him. The eyewitness replied, "I knew what it was, but I kept trying to rationalize it, being anything else. At that time, my father was at work, but I told my mother and brother. We each grabbed a rifle and went to the site, but it was gone. And I think they believed me. A few other things that I don't think I mentioned, and it may not have anything to do with my sighting, but some strange things occurred around there. One of the first, I remember, was that my dad had borrowed a corn picker from our neighbor. When he was done, he put it by the fence that joined our properties. A few days later, the neighbor came by, a little angry, accusing my dad of throwing the corn picker over the fence. Dad reasoned back, saying no man was capable of doing that, as it was too heavy. We also remembered things being moved and missing from around the barn. Another time, we smelt an awful odor. We just assumed it was skunk weed. We heard one vocalization one time. It sounded like a panther. This case is now closed. Number 2. Man sees Bigfoot near apartment complex. 2016. Androscoggin County, Maine. Class A, daytime sighting. I was actually not thinking of a Bigfoot. I was going to my son's apartment in a newly constructed condo. It was morning, probably 7:30 to 8 a.m., and it was early winter. I'd say November. This was a totally by chance encounter. And when I realized what I actually saw, it was gone. I was driving, but not going very fast, probably 25 miles per hour. It was mostly coal black in color, but not on the face. I had turned on another road just as it crossed the road, but it did walk down the road before it crossed. This area has had some development, and still is being developed today with condos, homes, etc. So I think this Bigfoot has been through there before, but this time with human encroachment. And it was caught off guard. It didn't dawn on me at first until my brain caught up with what I had seen only after I turned. I said to myself, I think I saw a Bigfoot. And it did not cross the road that I turned on. It crossed the other road. I know because I looked in my rear view mirror and didn't see it cross the road. The reason I know what I saw was because of the way it walked. It had no neck, and the size of its feet. I know it sounds unreal, but I know what I had seen. Believe me, since my sighting, I tried to debunk it like a person in winter clothing and boots, but it was not a person. It had a gait when it walked, with long arms. It was like it had a mission. It took me some time to understand what I saw, because there's nothing to compare it to. So your mind is like, what the hell? I'm hoping to get some time and check out another area for tracks. I will not go alone, and I'm 6'3" and 218 pounds, but Bigfoot is much bigger and stronger than me. I would never mess with one. Follow up. NOBRO investigators report. I spoke with the witness via the internet. The witness provided me with the sighting location on Google Earth Maps. I asked the witness where the Bigfoot was in relation to the house, which was located at the intersection of the sighting. The witness then replied, I turned left, and it was on the right side of the road, on the opposite side from the home. It crossed the road in front of that home and got out of sight, because it didn't cross behind me until after I turned left. I'm thinking it saw me and hid out of sight. This area is fairly new development, so I think it got caught off guard, but not for long. As you see, there is plenty of woods to go to. After speaking with the witness, as we both were looking at the map of the apartment complex in this case, we both came to the conclusion that the Bigfoot in this report was probably in this area to search through the trash dumpster, which is not far from the sighting. The eyewitness believes that the Bigfoot are opportunistic and will take advantage of its surroundings. There is plenty of wood cover that leads up to this apartment complex, which would help the Bigfoot approach this area and gain access to the trash dumpsters of the complex. The dumpsters could serve as an easy target for food for the Bigfoot. This case is now closed. Number 3. Men hear loud screams on private land. 2020, Southeast District, McCurtain County, Oklahoma. Class B vocalizations. The witness to this incident was visiting a friend when they were outside and heard what is to be described as a man yelling at the top of his lungs. The witness, we will name Robert, asked, "Who is that?" His friend, we will name Paul, said he hears that every now and then. They both talked about it and decided to walk down toward the location where the yelling was coming from. This was estimated to be around 5:45 p.m. Sunset occurs around 6:12 p.m., so they decided to take some flashlights since it would take 10 minutes to walk down to this location, and it would probably get dark as they walked back. This location is where two rivers meet, the Little River and the Glover River. Private property, according to Paul. Before they reached the fence line, Paul's phone rang. He answered, and it was his father. Paul told him where he was going and that they heard the man scream again. Paul was silent for a few minutes. Robert could hear Paul's father talking. Paul hung up and said, "Let's go back to the house." As they walked, Paul relayed the story his father just told him. Paul said, "My father just said that the sound we hear is of the Bigfoot. My dad said the local people say they hear screams from that area a few times a year. Those people get chased out of there by something." Paul continued, "My dad said he saw something not far from there that was about 9 feet tall and had red eyes." They both made it back to the house. Robert departed around 10:30 p.m. He called another friend, we will call Steve, and he discussed what happened. Steve knows one of our lead investigators and reported it to him. Steve is a grandson of a Choctaw elder that is familiar with the Bigfoot legends and stories. Nothing else to report. Follow up. NOBRO Investigators Report. Lead investigator Troy Hudson spoke with Steve about this incident. Paul was contacted and Troy Hudson conducted a phone interview. The location of where the screaming came from is private property. The rivers run for miles to the north and back to the Red River. Troy Hudson has spoken with Steve's grandfather on several occasions about this topic. The grandfather talks of several family groups of Bigfoot that have lived along the Little and Glover rivers for many generations. This incident will be closed due to the location lies on private property. The Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization, or NOBRO, was founded by a group of Native Oklahoma residents that have been involved in Sasquatch research and investigations for the past 15 years. These investigators and researchers come from all walks of life. They represent tribal affiliations from the Choctaw, Creek, and Cherokee nations. The NOBRO receives and responds to reports from all over the state of Oklahoma. They have conducted investigations that involve tribal, public, and private land. They have responded to reports that have occurred within hours of the witness seeing something, to reports that are years old in nature. please visit our official website. I will provide a link in the description of this video. Also check out the NOBRO Bigfoot Sightings database. I will provide a link to the description of this video. That's the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization. Now, let's get back to Squatch Ranger Files.
Unlock the unknown.
I won't accept it what the skeptics even have to say. They disconnected, made a record, and it's so cliche. So much evidence is building up in our possession. So many elements control the answer to this question. From the page of myth to actuality, to unlock the locked door, where's the magic key?
Unlock the unknown.